using the delivery pipeline on Bluemix with continuous delivery toolchains to automate build, test, and deploy of applications. The delivery pipeline service combines features of continuous integration and continuous delivery systems. In the most simple types of toolchains, delivery pipeline works to provide deployment automation to Bluemix. A delivery pipeline is organized as one or more stages. In this presentation, you'll learn about stage components, inputs, jobs, and environment variables. Jobs in a stage have three types: build, test, and deploy. And you will learn about options to control stage execution. The IBM Bluemix Delivery Pipeline Service automates the continuous deployment of your Bluemix projects. In a pipeline, sequences of stages work on application artifacts to perform tasks for continuous integration and continuous delivery. Stages organize input and jobs as your code is built, deployed, and tested. In the example shown, there is a pipeline which has a build stage and then 3 subsequent deploy stages across dev, test, and prod. Each stage has 3 tabs for managing the stage configuration: input. Stages accept input from either source code repositories, SCM repositories, or build jobs, build artifacts, in other stages. When you create your first stage, the default settings are set for you on the Input tab. By default, the stage will run automatically with each change to the SCM repository. Jobs. The stage's input is passed to the jobs the stage contains, and each job is run in a clean container with the input artifacts. The jobs in a stage can't pass artifacts to each other. Environment properties. You can define environment properties and use them across all jobs in the stage. For example, you could define a test URL property that passes a single URL to the deploy and test jobs in a single stage. The deploy job would deploy to that URL, and the test job would test the running app at the URL. Job is an execution unit within a stage. A stage can contain multiple jobs, and the jobs in a stage run sequentially. By default, if a job fails, subsequent jobs in the stage do not run. Build jobs. A build job compiles your project in preparation for deployment. Build jobs generate artifacts that can be sent to a build archive directory, although by default, the artifacts are placed in the project's root directory. Deploy jobs. Deploy jobs deploy your application to the Bluemix Cloud Foundry runtime environments, or you can deploy Docker images to the Bluemix container service. Deploy jobs can manage service creation and binding and deploy to one or more regions. For example, you can set up your delivery pipeline to use one or more services, test in one region, and then deploy to production in multiple regions. If you use a manifest.yaml file for Cloud Foundry deployments, settings can be overwritten here by customizing the push command inside the deploy script using environment variables for desired setting values. And test jobs. If you want to verify that specific conditions are met, you can include test jobs before or after your build and deploy jobs. You can customize test jobs to be as simple or as complex as you need. For example, you might issue a curl command and expect a particular response. You might also run a suite of unit tests or run functional tests with third-party test services such as Sauce Labs. If your tests produce results files in JUnit XML format, a report that is based on the result files is shown on the Test tab of every test result page. If a test fails, the job also fails. Jobs run in discrete working directories within Docker containers that are created for each pipeline run. After a job runs, the container that was created for it is discarded. The results of a job run can persist, but the environment in which it ran does not. Stages and jobs run serially. They enable flow control for the work of your delivery pipeline. Stage. By default, a build stage is run automatically every time new changes are delivered to a project's SCM repository. Similarly, a deploy stage runs when it receives a new input, like a build artifact. Now you might want tighter control of a specific stage. If you do not want a stage to run every time that a change occurs at its input, you can disable this capability. On the Input tab for the stage, in the Stage Trigger section, you can click Run Jobs only when the stage is run manually. For example, you may want every build to be auto-propagated across dev and test environments, but perhaps not every build needs to be deployed to UAT or the prod stage. For jobs, within a stage, one can have various jobs and they all run serially. By default in the Jobs tab, in the Run Conditions section, Stop running the stage if the job fails is selected. This selection means that if a failure occurs, any jobs further down the pipeline will not run, and the stage will be marked as failed. This completes our overview of the delivery pipeline for continuous delivery toolchains. In the next lab section, you'll get to try out delivery pipeline for yourself.